Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Wars in the Stars movie reviews, episode number 8. It's our 8th movie review. Our first one was Shang-Chi, where actually Alex wasn't on that one. So technically,
Oh,
your
was
first.
it?
No, your first one was technically. Oh no, yeah, our first movie we reviewed was Black Widow. Yeah,
Oh
we
yeah.
reviewed Black Widow.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
We typically like to think more positively about the movies we review, not about the bad ones.
yeah. Well, to each his own. If you don't like that film, whatever. Um,
If you don't like that film, you're just right.
Okay, yeah. Already start us off with controversy.
It
Um, Alex, how's it going?
is going. That's for sure.
Life? Yeah.
Very amped right now. I feel like I've been shot in the head with adrenaline right now.
If you hear me blow my nose or see me blow my nose or if I sound congested, it's because I am. I've slept almost basically the entire day. I'm not feeling great, but the show must go on. I'm excited to talk about this film, obviously. A very monumental cultural film, a very monumental film to the MCU, a legacy film, I guess is the best way to put it. Um, just all around, I think this film, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be a fun discussion for sure. So without further ado, let's get into it. I want to first ask you, Alex. I want to just start with this because on our preview, I made the prediction that T'Challa's son.
Nah. You didn't predict. You knew. You knew the leaks. I don't even. You can't convince me. You can't convince me with how perfectly you predicted it. You can't.
This is what I will tell you. I knew the plot of the film. I didn't know about the post-credit scenes. I had heard possibly that they would do T'Challa's son. That was my prediction. I had heard that there was a very real possibility that could happen. It was not stated really in leaks, like a full-on plot leak. Mind you, up until like a month ago, Doom was probably going to be in this film. Okay, that seems like that was scrapped. I did not know about T'Challa's son 100%. I'm going to tell you that was mostly a prediction. That was mostly just a rumor, and I predicted accurately. You're just mad that your prediction of Namor dying was incorrect. So there you go.
I don't know.
I did not know about T'Challa's son being in this film.
Oh yeah, pull up your search history.
I did not know about that.
Pull it up. Pull
Well,
up your search history.
There's a lot of stuff you probably don't want to see
On
on
phone
that.
and computer.
Wow. I don't know. You sure you want to see that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So, I guess we could start there because we talked a little bit about that yesterday. We'll start with the post-credit scene. Because we do disagree on this a little bit.
That shit was dookie.
That I 100% disagree. I thought it was great. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna sound off on why I hate it. It's cheap. It's cheap.
Hate's a strong word, Alex. Hate's a very strong word.
It is. It's cheap. It's a cheap way. Sorry, my mom's yelling at my cat. It's a cheap way, in my opinion, to kind of overwrite his death. Because yes, I can see the plot. I can see the plot of like him living up to his father. I can see it. But granted, at Marvel's pace, we won't see that until 2026, when all of a sudden we'll be in 2040. But to me, it doesn't sit right. It doesn't sit right. I feel Shuri should have been the person to continue that family legacy, not a just random son that he had for no reason at all. That's kind of my thing. Is I see your face there. To me, there's no point to have him have a son. There's no point to it.
That's okay. So let me do a practical. Let me do a practical real world. So what I'm very confused. What do you mean by there's no purpose in him having a son? We have to remember at the time that he has this kid, he's the king. He's just become king of Wakanda. He's just fought Killmonger. Him and Nakia are together at this point. It would make a ton of sense.
They're together, but like kind of.
They're together.
they embrace each other for love, but it's very much implied Nakia leaves Wakanda after the events of the first movie. So
They had time to bathe, so there you go.
to me, my big problem with it is it's a very big stretch of logic, and to me also, again, it very much to me undermines Shuri becoming the Black Panther and the Queen of Wakanda, which they're not even going down that route. M'Baku challenge for the throne of the king or for the throne, um, which I was fine with. But for me personally, I don't like the decision. Again, I think it's too much, in my opinion, of a stretch of the timeline. It's too much of a stretch of the movie because I feel like because my thing would be like this: is imagine now the stakes of Infinity War and Endgame with the knowledge of T'Challa having a kid around the corner. Then I feel like if he would have brought that up, that would have been more important. And I just feel like just to be like, oh yeah, by the way, you're an aunt now, is like a big stretch in my opinion.
I would 100% disagree because it makes a ton of logical sense to me that T'Challa would want to hide his son, especially after all that T'Challa's been through with his family, with T'Chaka, his mom, with Shuri. Again, that's a tough life, right? He would be the prince of Wakanda. He would have to deal with everything that T'Challa dealt with, right? Because if T'Challa made any mistakes like T'Chaka did with killing his brother, killing Killmonger's father, uh, T'Challa doesn't want to have his son deal with those repercussions like he had to deal with T'Chaka. Because we have to remember that first film is basically about him solving his father's mistake, and his
Yeah,
mistake was killing, Killmonger's dad, his brother, and the repercussions were Killmonger became very much so hell bent on revenge, consumed
yeah,
on revenge. And I can see why T'Challa made that. T'Challa or Nakia says that it's from the standpoint that T'Challa didn't want all the pressure of him being in the royal family, but also I think subconsciously T'Challa made that decision because he didn't want to repeat the same mistakes as his father. We get that's a repeated theme with T'Challa is he's different than his father. He's not
mhm,
consumed by vengeance. He's consumed by justice. He wants to achieve justice. He wants to right the wrongs that his father had made, and he wants to be his own man. So it makes 100% sense to me why he would do it, as we are trying to differentiate T'Chaka and T'Challa. So it makes 100% sense to me. It makes sense to why he had a kid. Let's just do the practical here. He had just become the king of Wakanda. What do most kings do when they become kings? They try to spread their lineage. There you go. That it makes tons of logical sense to me why he had a kid. The argument you could make is that if Chadwick was still here with us, that they wouldn't have gone this route, and that
yeah,
that makes sense. That makes 100% sense to me, but let's not stretch the imagination here and say that there's no way T'Challa would have a kid. That's
yeah.
just a little
And I want to say,
illogical to me.
to me, I don't think it makes. I don't think it. I'm not saying it doesn't make sense that he has a kid. I think I'm saying timeline wise, there's no time for it to happen because we have to remember from the time that he fully ascends after being reborn from the herb, um, it is mere weeks until Infinity War. Like, so
You
that
tell me
means
they had no time. They literally had no time to bane.
I'm not saying they wouldn't have time. I'm saying like Wakanda just like went through a massive like attack internally. And you're telling me T'Challa and Nakia were just like, yeah, we're still trying to recover from all the destruction that killed. Want to have sex real quick?
Yes, yes. If we're gonna do the practical here, yes,
No.
sex is a stress reliever. Yes, absolutely, 100%, 100%,
No,
100%.
I just again, I think it's too. I think you're stretching imagination too far. That T'Challa just
No
doesn't seem
way.
like that. T'Challa does not seem like the person to be like, yeah, my kingdom did just kind of like get attacked, and we are kind of harboring somebody who could like punch a hole through someone's chest in our lands right now. Let's just have sex really quick. And
It makes
again,
tons of sense to me.
to me, again, I think we're gonna have to talk about it in this movie. This movie, me and you both agree, this movie's missing something, and it is T'Challa. This movie,
Absolutely.
you can very much tell where things were edited in. You can tell Riri was Shuri. You can tell that Shuri was T'Challa. You can just tell people's roles got changed to fill in other people's roles.
Right.
And again, I think me and you both agree his son was only made because of Chadwick's passing.
Absolutely. But also, I think to argue why it made sense to me, uh, was the fact that I think him having a son, uh, it's beautiful, and I also think the T'Challa character itself is also culturally impactful. I think that's
Oh
another
yeah,
thing, and that's a thing. I was not a big fan of the recast T'Challa movement. I understood it.
yeah.
I understood it 100%, but I think Chadwick ascends that character, right? There is no T'Challa to me without Chadwick. I just feel that way. It's
Mm,
just like I can't have Luke Skywalker without Mark Hamill. That it doesn't make
absolutely.
sense to me. I know Sebastian Stan, we've talked about that, but like I can't have it without Mark. That's Mark Hamill. That's Luke
Yeah.
Skywalker, right?
And yeah, for like to bring up like with the recent passing of Kevin Conroy, it's the same thing for a lot of people. You can't have Batman without Kevin. And
Right.
I think it's the same thing here. I was never on board with the recast T'Challa. I know his brother said that it's what he would have wanted, but nobody could fill those shoes. No one.
Yeah.
No matter you could put on the best performance in cinematic history, but you're not Chadwick Boseman.
I mean, I understood a lot of people I remember were on the train of having Michael B. Jordan play the role, which I wouldn't have minded because I think Michael B.
Yeah,
Jordan is fantastic.
yeah, and his cameo in this movie was great.
But like that's tough. That's
Yeah,
tough. That's
and
tough to do.
because then you'd have to do a lot of imagination stretching of how does T'Challa now look like what Killmonger looked like,
Right.
and you just couldn't. It's one of those things that Michael B. Jordan has a very very recognizable face, and so does
Yes.
Chadwick Boseman. You're not going to
Yes.
override them.
Right.
And I think we should talk about T'Challa's role in this movie.
Well,
There.
I want to first continue with the sun thing
Oh no,
because
I think it's a thing that we couldn't. We're just gonna have to agree to disagree. There's
well, no,
no.
no, I just want to
Oh
finish my
yeah.
point about like it makes sense like because you don't want to recast
Oh yeah.
T'Challa, but now you still have T'Challa's son. So you're still honoring the legacy, but you have a new T'Challa. You have his son carrying on
Yeah.
the legacy. And I think it makes he'll when he comes of age, he'll be a far more compelling character than Shuri. I'm sorry. I think I want to go there next. She's like the third or fourth most interesting character in this film. I'm
No, yeah.
sorry.
I think we should. I think we should wait because I think we should talk about something that I want your honest opinion about because
Okay.
we talked about Shuri off screen.
Yeah.
What do you think about the decision to have T'Challa's death be at the beginning of the movie? Like
I
that's how
know.
we open it. I know
I know.
it's a very controversial thing on social media right now, with a lot of
Yeah.
people saying like it's in very poor taste to have him die of illness.
Um it's very controversial. It's the same thing, it's a similar thing with the sun. There's a lot of controversy in this movie because it's an emotional film. It plays on
Yeah,
people's emotions differently. Um, I think it was a interesting decision for sure, but it made a lot of sense to me. Um,
yeah,
because to me, if you were to have the film and him just not be there, it's like what happened timeline wise.
yeah,
I think the movie did a great job of utilizing, but not stepping over a boundary of his death. Like they used the tragedy of Chadwick actually passing in real life, and they utilized it, I think, perfectly in the film. The audience is going in with grief. They know what has happened in real life, and they captured that in the film perfectly without stepping over the boundary. And I think it made a lot of sense, right? And it makes a lot of sense for the character of T'Challa. Shuri briefly mentions it in the film that he was battling a sickness. They briefly it's a line. It's like
mhm,
he was battling something and he hid it from everybody. Very um, similar to what Chad did in real life with his colon cancer. Um, and it wasn't too on the nose that it was like, oh, it's like a slap in the face. Like it's
yeah,
just like you're mimicking, like what happened. Uh, so I thought it was really well done. I'm not gonna say I liked it because that's
yeah.
weird for me to say. I think it was a good decision. And it made me cry.
Mhm.
So like
I'll say this. Obviously, I told you this. I like didn't know what was happening. Like everything was so quick that it was just like, oh, the movie just kind of starts with, oh, T'Challa died. So I'll say this: I don't think I would have opened the movie with it. I don't think I would have like put it in the middle. I think I would have put it after the Marvel credits logo, after the opening Marvel logo, just because it's something that it's so fast and it's such a major crux of the film that it's.
You thought it was too fast?
I did. I thought a minute. I thought a like what it was, not even 2 minute unbroken scene of just Shuri trying to quickly make the synthetic herb was really quick. Because it kind of just was like, oh, Shuri's making the thing. Oh, it's too late. That's the kind of breakneck pace that I thought it was. I wasn't a big fan of the opening of the movie in terms of the pace. It just kind of went a little too quick, in my opinion, especially when the second act was very slowed down. I'd say that's honestly my opinion. Probably my least favorite thing about the movie is the pacing. It feels either very slow or very fast. There's no really good middle ground. And I'd say really that is one of my only complaints about the movie. I don't really have anything else to overly complain about other than the pacing. But yeah, I don't think it was a bad decision. The problem was, how else are you going to kill him off?
Right.
You can't kill him off in battle because that would feel too improper. You'd have to see Chadwick's face in that moment. You can't kill him off like he just died in his sleep. Like nobody would buy that. It's one of those things you got to do. There's no easy way to get out of it, and I think they handled it as best as they could.
Right. And it's really opinion based.
Yeah.
I've been seeing the discussion online. It's like ridiculous. It's like whatever way you choose, there's going to be controversy around it.
Yeah.
Like I've been seeing people are mad at Soups because he said one of the reasons he didn't like the film was he thought that the opening was in poor taste, or he just disagreed with it. He didn't like it. People are just reaming him. I'm like, that's something so nuanced and so
Yeah.
controversial that like you shouldn't dismiss somebody else's feelings about that. It's very valid to say that they thought it was in poor taste. Like
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
if somebody thinks it's in poor taste, they thinks
Then
it's
yeah.
in poor taste. It was an impossible task. You can't
Yes.
you can't do it. You
And
can't do it perfectly.
And I'll tell you this, anything in the world where it's storytelling, where it's sports, like pro wrestling, where it's movies, where it's streaming, where it's theater and stuff like that, when you're telling a story and you have to come up with these impossible solutions, you're not going to please everyone. So the best way to do is just write the story to the best you can.
Yeah,
And
just
don't
write the
worry
story
about it.
you want to write.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. Like it really
Like,
in
yeah.
all.
And again, it's one of these situations. You're in an impossible situation. You got to go with what seems to be the best. I think his death was good in the movie. I thought it made sense. It was an illness. He didn't want people to freak out. And then when he asked for help, it was just too late.
Right. Yeah.
So it's one of those things. That's how it happened in real life with Chadwick. When he told people about it, it was too late for anything.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. It was unfortunate. I guess you could kind of say maybe I was just a little disappointed they didn't use any unused footage of him from like for a flashback or whatever. But even then, that's real nitpicky. I think people would have complained about that too. So
right.
And again, it was one of those things that I think Disney really learned from Rogue One, that a lot of people didn't like the recreating of deceased actors. I think it's different when you're doing like Darth Vader's voice or something like that. And I think also, because I did see a lot of people bring it up, how, Disney was able to put Princess Leia in the plot of The Rise of Skywalker, even though Carrie Fisher was dead, using deleted scenes from The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. And I do think that is a different territory, and I think arguably a lot of people would say their least favorite part about Rise of Skywalker was Leia's story.
Right, because it felt choppy and weird.
Yeah,
it made sense.
It felt out of place in the plot, and it felt like the plot was centered around her dialogue. So,
yeah. I like the opening scene because obviously it's a big centerpiece of the film, dealing with Chad's death and dealing with T'Challa's death specifically. So I thought it made sense. Like they literally drop you right into it, and he's dead. Like it's massive. Like it's a bombshell. Like we have to remember also that like we have to take away that the real practical thing that Chad died.
Mhm.
We have to think about it in the context of like these characters in the MCU in Wakanda. That's a bombshell. So they drop us with the bombshell right away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, overall, I think it was probably the right choice.
Mhm.
But again, to each his own. Like whatever
Yeah.
you think. Yeah, that
Yeah.
your feelings are 100% valid. You shouldn't like yell at somebody or berate somebody on the
Yeah.
internet because you
Absolutely.
feel like
That's unprofessional.
it's just stupid. It's
Yeah.
just like it's an impossible task. Whatever you think somebody else was gonna not
Yeah.
like. So it's like, yeah, I don't know.
I think. Yeah. I think though. I think we should move on with this review in a compliment sandwich review. Let's talk about a good, a
Okay.
meh, and then a bad. I think we should talk about a good because it's, I think, in my opinion, the biggest good of this movie. Namor, baby. Woo!
Namor is fantastic.
I
Ryan
think
Coogler knows how to do villains.
he does. He does. Look, I know I talked about it how I'm not as big on Killmonger as other people are, but still, I do not take away from Killmonger. That man was amazing. Um,
Right.
and Namor is no different. I know a lot of people said, "Oh, that man was kind of an anti-hero more than a villain." No, he wasn't. That man was a bad guy. He drowned the queen and technically
True.
Riri, but Riri got resuscitated.
He also literally said he wanted to murder the entire world,
Yeah,
basically.
he also did, he did say he wanted to murder almost 8 billion other people, but we
His
digress.
backstory is it's like saying that Anakin, like when he becomes Vader, is an anti-hero, right? Like, yes, we understand that Namor's like life is fucked up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Spanish conquistadors basically killed like his entire people through disease,
Yeah,
and he gets saved by the vibranium plant, and his people become the water people. They become Talokan, right? Talokan's the city,
yeah,
which was beautiful, great design.
oh yeah,
I love his throne with the megalodon. That
mm-hmm.
is so dope.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like his backstory is tragic, and this film is just as much about him as it is about anybody else. And I really loved his story, like his background and how it relates to Wakanda, and like
Mm-hmm.
how he's jealous of not just Wakanda because Wakanda now has become like a centerpiece, right? It's
Yeah,
part of the UN. It's become part of the world. While Talokan's still there, and he views Talokon as more powerful. And he hates the outside world because the outside world has treated him so bad and treated his people so bad. He's dealing with a lot of suffering, a lot of pain. Um, I think his story was so beautiful, and I thought I don't know how to pronounce the gentleman's name who plays him. It's Tednuk, I believe. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Uh, but he was fantastic. I thought he killed it in the role. He was frightening at the same time. He beats everybody's ass. The only reason he loses to Shuri is because like she exploits his weakness, which I thought was a really well done
oh yeah,
thing because Shuri is intelligent, and that's what I wanted to see. She's not a skilled fighter. I wanted to see her outwit Namor with her
mm-hmm.
intelligence. Um, and yeah, I thought he was really well done. I think he's my favorite character in the film. He's
Oh yeah,
badass,
oh yeah,
super powerful. Um, yeah, I thought he was like frightening, terrifying, but also at the same time, you feel sympathy for him. You feel sympathy for his backstory.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I thought he was really well done. And I will say one thing: I don't know where you go with him.
yeah. And I think that kind of leads us into like the meh part of him. He's kind of arced out. Like he's kind of like he got beat. And
And now
that's,
they have an alliance,
and they have a like semi alliance, I'd say, because
right?
I would honestly say Talokan knows not to attack Wakanda again. Wakanda could go attack them, but they know not to. I would say this. I wouldn't even say they have an alliance. They have a
Mutual
we
respect at the
yeah.
best,
Look, Wakanda's like, look, I could have killed your leader. I didn't. So
right?
like, don't try to invade us again, or I will next time.
I mean, but to be fair, like Namor does literally flood the entirety of Wakanda.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, I think Namor was really good. I think he's easily one of the best MCU villains by far.
Oh, wow, wow, wow,
Oh
wow, wow,
yeah,
wow,
by
wow,
far. I think
wow.
he's up there. from
Do you
a
think he's better
power.
than Killmonger?
Oh yeah, I think between the two, he's the best. Just
No
because
way. No way. No way. No
Killmonger
way.
to
No way. No way.
me,
No. No way. No way.
Killmonger to
No
me,
way. No way.
Killmonger to me is an overrated villain. Just
No. 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 No.
because.
No. 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 No.
Oh yeah.
No. 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 No.
What?
No. You're not gonna. You're not gonna spew this on this
Okay.
channel. No. 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 No.
Namor straight up, dude. I remember just his first few scenes. You're just like, damn, he's him. Like
He's him.
Like straight up. I liked how I love his presence. His presence felt like, damn, we gotta like take a step back. Like I loved it. I loved everything about Namor. I loved his design. I loved his backstory.
Oh no! Who's watching the stream? Oh man!
I loved how vicious he was. Oh God. Oh my. All right.
The tone us to find love.
But yeah, I think oh my God, this derpy 501st guy. He's something else. But yeah, I think Namor was great. I think he's definitely up there in the Phase 4 villains. I'd say he's up there honestly in villains overall. I would say this. We kind of did this yesterday when we were talking. It's like, would I rather have him or Taskmaster? I'd have Namor. I'd rather have him over Gore. I'd rather have him over Wenwu. I'd rather have him over Kingpin. I'd rather have him over Agatha. I'd rather have him over Arthur Harrow. I'd rather have it like. I'd say he's probably the best Phase 4 villain. I fail to see anybody else who's better than him.
Goblin?
I know. Ooh.
I'm taking. It's just because of the fact that somehow Defoe played a better Green Goblin than Spider-Man 1. Somehow.
Yeah, I'll take Goblin over him. But still, I mean, it's
like new villains, yes, by far. And like Phase 4 has a bit. Well,
Phase 4 has had a much better villain thing than I think a lot of people are giving credit.
Oh, absolutely. Like Arthur Harrow, very solid villain. Wenwu, good villain, like really good villain. Gore, really good villain.
Infinite Ultron, Wanda.
Wanda, good villain.
Yeah, He Who Remains. I think only a few jump out as like bad. Like
the Clandestines.
Yeah, like the Clandestines. The Flag Smashers.
Oh, whatever the hell the guy was. Like to be fair, like there's been a lot of good, but like the bad's been really bad.
Yeah, like you get,
like who the hell was the villain of She-Hulk again? It was the incel dude. Yeah. Who was the incel guy? Todd, the Reddit dude.
Like yeah, you literally get Todd, and then you get like Namor.
Right.
Like
Namor, fantastic. Also a mutant. But is it like X gene mutant or is it like?
I think he's talking about like he's a mutant because of like how he was born. Like,
right.
I don't know. I also think it. I don't know. Like he kind of just said, "I'm a mutant." Okay.
I feel like the MCU is gonna do a weird thing where they have mutants and then they have X-Men. Like there's gonna be mutants, but then there's gonna be people that have the X gene. Yeah. Like the real question is, like Kamala has the X gene. That's established.
Yeah. Like, and the other thing though is just like with most X-Men, if they go off the X-Men movie continuity with them, now they work, is that their birth was a pre-genetic, like not disorder, but something in them pre-genetically or genetically modified their genes to create the X gene.
Now, they could make the argument that vibranium plant did that, and I'd be fine with that.
And you can absolutely say, like, when he was being developed in his mother's stomach, he was already a mutant, and then the activation gene was the vibranium liquid.
Yeah. Yep.
Or was the herb. You can absolutely say that, and I'd be fine with it. I think the way that they probably are going to go with X-Men is that you are born with the X gene, but you need the activator. Like Wanda and Pietro needed the Mind Stone, Kamala needed the Bangle, Namor needed the Heart Shape Herb, or the I don't think it's even called the Heart Shape Herb, but the crushed the liquid vibranium, the pure liquid vibranium.
Yes.
And I think honestly, I think that's just the way they're going to go about it. I think when we get Wolverine, I bet it's going to be when he gets the surgery for the adamantium claws.
Yeah,
that
I could see
activates
that.
his gene. Um, yeah. Again, Namor, solid villain. I think I'd rate his villain an 8 out of 10. Really good.
I would agree. Very, very solid. I want to see more of him, but I just don't know where and how. Just feels arced out.
I think that's my big problem. I think that's why he is only an 8. I don't see where you go with him.
Right.
I think he has the Bucky effect right now. Like, sure, I guess I could see Bucky and Thunderbolts. I guess,
Well,
but like
that's actually a good
you
that's a
gotta.
good segue.
Oh man, Val, bro, what was she doing here?
That subplot I did not like at all because it feels like a subplot that's literally just setting up Thunderbolts.
Yeah, it's literally the only thing that I can think about it now is that Val's goal was to turn the world against Wakanda, so then therefore they could have a reason to have the Thunderbolts. And
Yes.
I think after rewatching it and talking to some people on Twitter and whatnot, I think the only way now that I can see why Bucky is there is because of his connection to the Dora Milaje. That's the only reason now why I think he's going to be there. Is Bucky's going to be brought in because of his connection to Wakanda. That's it.
Yeah, but to be fair, you're gonna have to stretch the fact that Bucky
Mhm.
is going to be on a team that's trying to steal vibranium from Wakanda.
Yep.
You also have to you tell me that also like there's some other people on that team too that I'm like the Red Guardian really gives a shit.
Yeah. Unfortunate.
Like
I
these people
I think
like
with this, like, isn't Thunderbolts isn't till 24, right?
right
Like May 24, I think.
right yeah
So you got some time to stretch it out. I could definitely see a few of the upcoming projects being where some of them pop up.
right
Um, I was really surprised by Val's inclusion. It's one of those things.
again I knew she was in the film but I didn't know how and when I saw and I figured out that she was Ross when they said she was Ross's
Ross's
former
ex-wife.
I'm like wait really
Yeah.
really
It's one of those things though that I'm just like, I like the inclusion. I like that they are noticeably building towards Thunderbolts. I'm a big fan of it.
right
But big but here, it felt very forced. It felt out of place. And it's now again after how this movie ends, it's making me it's stretching out Bucky's inclusion even further.
right.
The
Bucky's gonna
only
go to the same country that basically saved his life to steal from them. That's fantastic.
Yeah, like that's it. The only way that I can think that they would bring
The same
Bucky,
guy that like fought for a government for like 60 years under mind control is gonna go back and work
but
with a government
I
agency.
think I think the way that they bring Bucky in is I think they figure out how to get the Winter Soldier coding to work again.
Oh my god, I will walk out of the theater. I'll walk out of the
Yeah,
theater.
but you
That's
got
a walk out of the theater
but
moment.
but you got to think though from a logistical standpoint. That's the only way it makes sense.
Right, absolutely.
That's the only way that he would do it.
But also
Like
like Bucky is arced out. So like
Bucky should just die. I'm sorry. Like as
right,
bad
they
as that
should kill him in the
sounds,
K Dynasty. Like
they
literally
should.
just kill him.
They should. Like they need like. I'm sorry, but I'm so over
Falcon
his.
and the Winter Soldier was his closure. Like it was his closure. Like he
Yeah.
atoned for his sins.
Yep. That's it. Um. Yeah, I think Val. I think about her inclusion, how much she adds to the movie. I think not much.
Like if they just had Ross there, like Ross makes a lot of sense, right?
like
Ross is working
I
as
yeah,
like an agent
I told
for
you this
Wakanda.
yesterday. I told you this yesterday. You take Val out and you just replace it with a random actress or actor, and just CIA agent number 2. Does the plot change?
No,
Nope. No, it doesn't.
Ross still gets arrested.
Yeah. So it is what it is. I think Val's inclusion was like a 3 to 4 out of 10 like use of her. Like it was fine.
It's like, hey, there's Val. Oh,
Hey,
she's just
that's
with
the
Ross.
girl. Hey, she was in the first movie of Phase 4. Now she's in the last one.
Obviously, you're set
Yeah.
up her to be the Nick Fury, but
Yeah.
like,
And that's why she's good. It's good to see they're still building her up. Now she's at a massive position in the government. So now it makes sense how Thunderbolts gets made. That was kind of my big thing was Thunderbolts in the comics were a government like official team.
right.
They were the Avengers for the government. Now it makes sense how she's
I think that's the route.
head of the CIA.
they're setting up there too that they're almost like they're going to do a mixture of Dark Avengers and
Yes.
Thunderbolts.
I think they'll just mix them up.
That it's just the same thing basically. It's the government wanting to reform the Avengers basically because at this point the Avengers are still disbanded. They're not a thing.
Yeah. I would say you have like the private Avengers. Like Wong is still trying to hold the Avengers together,
Right.
but he's not like he recruits Shang-Chi, he recruits Jen. Like he's
Oh yeah,
basically just like I wouldn't even say he's the Avengers are together. I would definitely say Wong is just like, hey, in the event of crisis, like
we need to still be keeping tabs with each
yeah,
other.
like
Yeah.
we need to be in contact with each other, not just to not to team up or anything. Just be like, hey, just in case another Thanos decides to come through, we're prepared.
I would say that Val is my bad, by the way. Like she's just like that whole subplot to me was just thumbs down. I understand the
Nah,
setup.
I don't think it was thumbs down. I think it was a thumbs in the middle. Like
I think it was a thumbs
I
down for
un,
me.
I understood it. It definitely set the plot now for Wakanda Forever, or sorry, Thunderbolts. That they're going after vibranium now,
Yes.
which is so dumb. I'm sorry. I was a player who was massively into Marvel's Avengers. I hated the subplot in the game about Claw going for or vibranium. It's a dumb plot because it doesn't make sense how it gets done.
Well, we've also already like seen it. We saw Claw in the MCU try to,
He
go
already
after
had
vibranium.
Yeah, he already
Yes.
had $8 billion worth. Like, it's so dumb. But
Just
yeah,
because the United States government wants vibranium. That's it.
I think let's move into both. I think a big bad. Um,
Well, for me, my mid is Shuri.
no, I think Shuri was easily one of the most compelling people of the movie.
Uh
Let's talk. Yeah,
listen
let's talk Shuri.
listen, man. I I'm fine with her being the Black Panther because it's the most logical choice. Here, 1 second.
Okay, I'll take drink of Red Bull.
I'm dying over here. I'm sorry. I think she was the most logical choice. Very, very, very
Yeah,
apparently. But like to me, like I don't even know how to describe it really, Alex. Her becoming the Black Panther just felt so sudden to me.
I'll say this: it was one of those things that I was happy that she didn't have to like prove herself to be the Black
Sure,
Panther. I
sure.
was happy it was just a thing like, no, I'm the Black Panther now. Like, none of you have a choice in this. It's me now.
Right. It has to be
That
me.
that was one of the things that I really enjoyed about this movie. It was not the generic Marvel formula of hero and is trying to live up to the mantle of the one who came before. She's struggling. She needs that moral support. No, this movie, in my opinion, was about how can this. I think the theme of the movie is how does grief affect someone. We see
How do
how
people deal
grief.
with grief? Yes.
Yes. Well, now, yes, we've seen it with Wanda through WandaVision and Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness.
She's
That
not very good at it.
she's not really good. I think through, funnily enough, I think Star Wars and Marvel, one of their big common themes is grief. How do people deal with it? We see when we see Padme, she dies of grief. She dies of the broken heart because of what happened to Anakin. Luke becomes a hermit because of grief. Like we see grief is a reoccurring thing in these franchises, but Marvel, especially in Phase 4, has brought it up. How do you deal with it? And I think Shuri and Namor were perfect counterparts for each other.
Right.
Namor, he has grief and he wants to kill the people of the surface world because of what happened on his land.
Absolutely, yeah.
He saw slaves. He saw people enslaving each other.
Uh-huh.
Shuri is dealing with her grief because she wants revenge. She wants to take revenge on just someone because she feels wrong. Like I was talking to someone. Let's give Shuri's like first few years since we meet her in Black Panther 1 until we see her until the end of this movie. In Black Panther 1, she is dealing with the grief of her father dying. She is dealing with her nation being internally invaded. The heart-shaped herb is destroyed. Then a few
Her
weeks
brother's
after,
dead.
and then her brother dies. She has to watch his brother or her brother come back to life barely.
Yep.
And then 3 weeks after saving her nation, has the Battle of Wakanda. She dies. Her brother dies. Her mom presumably dies. And then she comes back to life. Her brother comes back. Her mom theoretically comes back. And then a year after that, her brother dies of an illness that she didn't tell him about until it was too late. And then a year after that, her mom dies. Her nation gets flooded. And then when she goes to the ancestral plane, she doesn't see her brother. She doesn't see her dad. She doesn't see her mom. She saw fucking Killmonger.
Yes.
And you have to think, this happened for her in the span of 3 years.
Yeah.
Because you have to take those 5 years out because she was dead from the blip. In 3 years, she lost everything basically.
Right.
She lost everything. She was basically also told to stop trying to save her brother. And then you have to think also she carries that baggage with her that she was too slow to save him.
Right. Even though it's not her fault.
Yeah. You know? And then you have to think, well, how does she process this? Because again, I was really nervous. She was just going to be a sunshine and rainbows. No, she became ruthless, especially with that first conversation with Ramonda, how she said she doesn't want to think about her brother because if she does, it won't be the clothes that burn. It'll be the world and everyone in it.
Right.
She's not grief stricken where she's sad. She's angry.
Right.
She's bitter. She wants people to pay for things that they had nothing to do with.
Right.
It's one of those things that's why I loved her so much. And then the amazing fight with her and Namor at the end was just so good. Again, it's like you said, it wasn't a thing that she was just an amazing skilled fighter out of nowhere. She outsmarted Namor. That's how she won. She used her brains.
Yep.
And I thought it was really good. I love the route that Shuri went. That she's not this nice person anymore. She's bitter. She let Namor live because she wanted to. Not because she's a nice person, but it was mercy. It was a threat to keep him alive. Namor even says it at the end when he's talking to that girl. She had him dead to rights. Right. Yeah. He was dead to rights. He could have died if she wanted to, or if he wanted to.
Black Panther could have killed me. It's like should have killed me. Yeah. Yeah, I 100% understand that, Alex. It's just for me, and maybe this is just my own subconscious bias coming in, but it's like, when we compare it to the other origin story, when we compare it to Chadwick's, and again, it's almost an impossible task. Just like this just doesn't resonate with me as much. This one just doesn't hit like when T'Challa comes back and takes the heart-shaped herb, and he comes back and he sees Killmonger and he's like, as you can see, I am not dead. And he comes out and he fights. Like, it just doesn't hit like that. You know what I'm saying? It just didn't hit for me like that. Yeah. And plus, Shuri, it was not set up, right? It was just, it had to happen in this film. And throughout the film, they, allude to the fact that she has to become it. But, and again, it's the thing with Chadwick's death. There was a lot of repercussions that were going to come with this film. And it's just like, it didn't feel fully natural to me because we didn't get that natural progression.
Yeah. I think another thing, and I talked to you about this yesterday, something I was really impressed that this movie did, that no other sequel in the MCU has done, is how important the first movie is. You cannot watch this movie without watching the first one.
Right.
Because I theoretically think you could skip Infinity War and Endgame, and you'd be fine.
Yes.
This movie you cannot watch without seeing the first one. You're so confused about what's happened. The heart-shaped herb storyline doesn't make sense. Who Ross is doesn't make sense. Like why the Black Panther is so important. Why being the Queen was so important to Ramonda. Like it doesn't make sense without that first movie.
Right.
I am a big fan of how important that movie was to this movie.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Because a lot of times MCU sequels will just go in a totally different direction. For example, Doctor Strange 2.
Yeah.
Goes in a totally different direction than the first Doctor. Like literally the first Doctor Strange, it's supposed to set up the fact that like sorcerers want to kill him. that is not the plot of Doctor Strange 2. Plot of
No,
Doctor Strange 2 is literally him flying through the multiverse. Okay.
yeah.
Iron Man 2, I, I don't
I
even know
don't know.
what happens in that film.
Yeah,
Again,
I don't know the plot. Thor: The Dark
Thor
World.
1 and 2 are just drastically different.
Yeah.
Thor,
But
and then Thor 3 is just,
it's
Ragnarok is just like on a whole nother planet.
and then Love and Thunder, bro. Just not even in the
Love and,
same realm anymore.
Love and Thunder is just somewhere else.
Yeah, and
Civil
then
War? You told me that's
that's Captain America 3.
That's an Avengers film, bro. That's not. I agree with that. It stayed true to what it was. Like it didn't just
Yeah,
say, "Oh shit, there's magical heart shaped herbs somewhere that
yeah.
we didn't know about." No, like
No.
sure he had to make them.
Yeah, sure he had to make it, and then because she couldn't make them, her brother and her mom died.
Correct. And I want to segue into that because we've talked about Creed Ramonda for a little bit. I thought she was fantastic.
So good.
So
I loved how ruthless she was in the movie.
right.
Ruthless. She brought those French army people and like, hey yo, these your boys? Like, what happened?
Yeah. What happened?
Yeah, yeah.
um.
She was so
No,
good.
she was
So good.
fantastic because like in the other films, she's just
Yeah.
there.
Dude, this week has just been monologue heaven. Her monologue to Okoye was just oh, heartbreaking,
I am the
but
queen
so
of the
good.
most powerful nation, and I've lost everyone. Like she's struck by grief.
Yeah.
Uh, and her relationship with Shuri, I just really loved her arc in this film.
Mm-hmm.
And then she wants to be there obviously for Shuri, but her role as the queen saving Riri Williams was
Yeah.
so impactful, so powerful. Like she did the right thing. I know she
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be there for Shuri, obviously, because Shuri was so struck by grief. But her monologue to the UN, her monologue to Okoye was fantastic. She's dealing with the same stuff Shuri was dealing with, and then her death I thought was really well executed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was all really well done. Interesting choice. I thought it was a bold choice to kill her, considering that
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
fact that you already killed T'Challa, and then now you killed another one, so that whole family is
Mm-hmm.
basically gone now,
Yeah.
minus Shuri. I thought it was a really bold decision, and it really worked for me. I
Oh
did
yeah.
know she was going to die, uh, but it was executed very well, in my opinion. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm very pleased, and yeah, like you said, she has one of my favorite monologues now that we heard
Yeah.
briefly in that one of those trailers. But um, yeah, she was fantastic. She was a really good, like I think she was, in my opinion, behind Namor, second best character in this film. So I thought she
Really
was
good.
great.
Really, really good. I will say, I think the one of the few characters I was a little disappointed in was the usage of literally everybody else in Wakanda. um,
Like
really,
M'Baku was like there, like
yes,
he made the joke like, "Oh, let's just kill the fish guy,"
yeah,
and that's what I felt like he did the whole time. He just was like an idiot that
yeah.
like jumped around and tried to kill Namor.
And then like you have to believe that he is going to be the king of Wakanda.
It makes sense to me.
It does, but like how this movie arced him, no, I don't see it. Um, I don't know. I'm a little
The
on
Dora
the.
Milaje were dope,
They
as
were.
always. They were
Oh yeah.
dope as always. The Midnight Angels outfits, by the way, going to
Mhm.
be a show. Fantastic, fantastic. I love
Absolutely.
Okoye in this film. Her brief arc
Oh
with
yeah.
her like uh,
Nakia, great. Yeah.
having to overcome her like her being defeated by what was his name,
Yeah.
Atuma, I believe. Yeah. And then her like avenging and finally overcoming that. I thought that was really good. The Dora Milaje have always been dope to me. These woman warriors that are just like the best warriors on the planet, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was really well done. And Baku was just there. Nakia, like I like how they utilize Nakia. Like
Yeah.
Nakia's not supposed to be like a full-on main character, but she plays a pretty big role, right? Obviously, being that mentor figure to Shuri, and obviously now the mother of the prince of Wakanda, right? He's the prince
Yeah.
still. Yes.
Yep.
So I don't know how that works. When he comes of age, finally, does Shuri just hand the title down?
I guess so.
That's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, they don't.
It's really weird.
Again, it'll happen in 2026 when we're in the year 2050 in the MCU because
That's
the 80 projects that come up where it'll just. I want you to remember we're almost in 2026 in the MCU. By the way,
yeah.
we're
I
at
had a
the
lot of projects. Yeah.
we're at the tail end of 2025 in the
Wait,
MCU right
Phase
now.
4 is over too. That's right. Oh,
Phase.
jeez.
This was well. There's one more thing, but this is the first major project of the phase because we still have the Guardians Holiday Special.
Yeah, I consider this the end, and
Oh yeah,
so
this is
Guardians Holiday Special is just like a nice little. Like I don't consider Werewolf by Night as part of Phase 4. I just consider it because like at San Diego Comic Con, they showed you what they counted. Like they
yeah
don't really count the animated stuff, like the major
yeah
stuff, the major television shows, and then the major like
yeah.
movies. Like this is the
Then the
end of
special
Phase 4.
presentations. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. I think Wakanda Forever was pretty solid.
Yes, I
I
think I don't mean to cut you off
think
again,
I
but
think
my biggest complaint, and it's probably something I won't feel the next time I rewatch it, is that just felt like a presence was missing, and that was Chadwick's. I think what makes the
yes.
first movie so special and the character of Black Panther Wakanda is Chadwick, his presence, his dialogue, his demeanor. There's
Mm,
something special about him that we missed
yeah,
in this film, and that's what I felt the whole time. Like I was just missing something, and that was him.
yeah. I
Um,
think
yeah.
yeah. I think now I think we've kind of talked about enough of Wakanda Forever. I think we should. I think let's. I know we texted. We're only going to talk about it, but I think now that you brought up this is the end of Phase 4. I think we should talk about Phase 4. It's over.
I want to ask. Yes, yeah. I
Oh
think
yeah.
a good segue. What would you first off? What would you rate the movie out of 10?
Oh yes, I forgot to give my rating. I'd give it. I'd give it an 8.25. It
I
was
was just
solid.
gonna say the same thing.
It
I
was
would give it an
solid. It was
8.25.
again. It's the biggest problem with the movie. It's you can you feel the presence of Chadwick gone, and it's a big hindrance on the movie because you can just again one of my big things. I know we didn't talk about Riri Williams. She was
Oh,
great.
we gotta talk about Riri. Yeah, we have to. I,
She was great. I mean, there's not much to really talk about with her. She was good. She was funny. Maybe that's another thing. The comedy of this movie was kind of meh. It wasn't really there.
it was
And what?
like Marvel like
Yeah,
comedy that was
yeah,
like ha 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 so funny.
yeah.
It wasn't like good
Now,
like
yeah, like there was like the joke about do you need a water bottle? Like,
I'm gonna be honest, I don't even remember that joke. Like
yeah,
the jokes that stick with me stick with me.
yeah,
Like like Thor Love and Thunder has nothing that sticks with me. Like Ragnarok has jokes that
oh
stick
yeah,
with me.
oh yeah, yeah. I think 8.25 serves the movie well. I think the supporting
Yes.
cast was great. I thought the main characters were great.
I thought the
Uh,
cinematography was beautiful. I love when
off
they
the chart.
slowed the movie down.
Oh yeah,
When it went slow mo, I love the utilization of no sound when there was any time it was Chadwick.
yeah,
Like there was no sound, there's no audio. I thought that was really well done. Riri Williams, I really liked the character. I liked how they differentiated her from Iron Man. Like her suit
yeah,
looked nothing like if
yeah.
you were to show it side by side, it wouldn't be like, oh, this is Iron Woman.
Yeah.
Like no, it's a totally different character. They don't even
Oh,
call her Ironheart, right?
yeah, no, yeah. And she doesn't get her suit back. She doesn't get to keep it.
Right. Well, which is something
Good.
we're going to see in her show.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I thought she was really good.
Dominique
Really good
Thorne killed it.
utilization.
Yeah, killed
Dominic
it.
Thorne, great. She's fantastic. I think probably a young Avenger. I don't
Oh
know
yeah.
what the hell they're doing with that. They got so many young Avengers,
I
but
mean,
nothing's
hey,
been
gotta
announced.
think she's going to college with MJ, Flash, and Ned. So
Shit.
she goes to MIT with them. So
That's right.
we could see it. We could see
That
it.
is very true.
I'd be down for it. Why are we
That is
getting so many weird ass comments?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know.
Someone really wants us
I think they
to
want you,
love.
Alex, not me.
Yeah. But yeah,
He says, yeah. Like he's
yeah, they want me. So yeah, I think Wakanda Forever. I think it scores a good 8.25. I don't think it's better than the first. I don't think it's a step down either. I just don't think.
I think it's a step down.
No, because I think you're. I think okay, it's a half.
I'm
step
really
down.
listen. I'm really high on
Oh,
the
yeah.
first. Like the first
Oh
one
yeah, absolutely.
might be my favorite MCU. Like I think it might be the best MCU film. I don't think you have it that high.
No, I don't think it's the best. I think it's definitely the best solo movie. I think it's definitely the best introduction movie. I think it's the best shot movie. I think it's up there for best soundtrack.
it also has it has Rise of Skywalker pacing, but well done. We've talked
Yes,
about that.
yes. I think
This movie, that's another thing. This movie was like the exact opposite. It was
yeah,
dialogue heavy. It was like not go go go. It was
yeah,
like partially go go go. Like the first one is like
yeah. The best way that I can describe this movie's pacing
this is the Last
is
Jedi pace.
no, is the best way I could describe it is the Andor Prison Break arc.
Okay,
Very, very expository, but towards the end, it really picked up.
but
With
it's good
action.
dialogue. It's not like
It
it's
is.
bad. Dialogue is
Yeah.
not bad. Dialogue is not inherently bad. Bad dialogue is bad. Good dialogue is good dialogue.
Dialogue that serves a massive inherent purpose is good.
Right? Absolutely.
So,
So,
yeah. Let's
when we
segue
talk
to
about
phase 4.
we
Let's
talk about
talk.
this movie in the
Yeah.
context of Phase 4. We talked a little bit about this last night, but I think this will be the final thing before we get off. Where do you rank it? How'd you rank Phase 4, and where would you rank this?
I would definitely say it's my second favorite thing of the phase. Yes.
Okay.
I think, or it's second or it's
Of the
third.
phase.
Of
Of
the
the phase.
I think it's second or third. I
So
think
that's movies and shows.
movies and shows. I think No Way Home is still better. Yes, I know from a plot standpoint this movie is better, but come on, it's No Way Home. It's like one of the most it's like one of the most like geek movies like
Of all time.
of all time. It's look, I'll tell you this. I mean, you
It
both
is
agree.
the moment.
The plot of the movie's bad, but
I would say the plot of the movie is bad. I would
it's
say
bad.
that like the first they gloss over that's a good example of them glossing over the first film. Like the first film's problems or no, I mean the second film, Far From Home. Like Far From Home's problems are solved by the end of the first act. That's not how the film should have gone. But who
Yeah.
cares? Toby and Andrew showed up, so like whatever.
Look, and yeah, it's one of those things. It is fan service done right.
Absolutely.
I'd say also maybe Loki would go over this,
Okay.
and then I'd say Wakanda Forever, and then I'd put Moon Knight right underneath it, and then I'd put Shang-Chi. That's my top 5.
Okay.
I think me
Okay.
and you either agree or we slightly disagree, and you'd probably flip 2 of my things.
So if I were to do a top 5 of just things, top 5 of things, I would go. This Wakanda Forever would not be in my. Well, would it be? No, it would not be.
Wow,
Maybe.
that's surprising.
Maybe. Actually, let me think about this here real quick. Okay, top 5. I'd probably go 1 No Way Home, 2 Loki, 3 Shang-Chi,
Okay.
4 Moon Knight,
All right.
5 Wakanda Forever.
Okay. Okay.
So I think Wakanda Forever is my third, and it's like neck and neck between Doctor Strange and Wakanda Forever. Like if I were to rank movies, it go No Way Home, Shang-Chi, Wakanda Forever. Like it goes No Way Home, Shang-Chi, Gap, Wakanda Forever,
Oh, I didn't mean to message that in private chat.
Multiverse of Madness, and then there's a gap, where we get Eternals, Love and Thunder, and Black Widow. So that's like Black Panther is my third favorite film in the phase. So like very solid for a phase overall that I think a phase overall that like had a lot of hit and misses. I think this was a step in the right direction. I don't think it rights the wrongs of phase 4, and I think you would agree with me. I think the latter half of phase 4 was fucking terrible. The last 3 projects before this are some of the worst things I've ever watched with my eyes. They were bad. Love and Thunder, She-Hulk, bad. Miss Marvel, like you could say kids show, you could get away with it, and a lot of people liked it. But Love and Thunder and She-Hulk are bad. Like they might be like bottom tier of the MCU in general. When we do our end of year rankings, don't be surprised if you see it like in that tier. Like if you see She-Hulk as the worst project, don't be surprised. I still don't think it's bad as Iron Man 2, but like it's bad. It's bad.
I think for my movie rankings, I might be missing one, but I have No Way Home, Wakanda Forever, Multiverse of Madness, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings,
Ooh.
Eternals, Thor: Love and Thunder, and Black Widow.
Okay. I rock with it. I disagree with Shang-Chi, but I rock with it.
It's like, okay, I put Shang-Chi down there because it is so good, but I feel like the first act is really bad. Um, but then I put Multiverse of Madness purely out of like fan service.
I do
But
think Doctor Strange like has a good story. I do think that, but like I think the reason
it's
I put
all
Wakanda ahead is I think Wakanda Forever has a better story that doesn't play on like the fan service aspect of things. But
it's all right. It's all right. It's all right.
you got anything else to say about Wakanda Forever? Been a fun review.
Yeah, no, man, it was solid. I'm interested to see where I think me and you talked. I think for overall MCU movies and shows, I definitely think it's around that 15 to 13 range.
Yeah, I
It's
think it's
good.
the it's like
I
in
don't
the
think yeah,
upper middle
upper
pack.
upper middle of the pack movie. It's good. It's got a lot of greatness to it. It's just not better than the first, and it's not in the top 10 for me.
Yeah, like I think it's a good step for the MCU overall, but I don't think it rights the rods of Phase 4. Now, as we move into Phase 5, I'm super fucking pumped for this. The next film that we see in about a little under 4 months now. Yeah, a little under 4 months now.
Yeah, man.
Uh, we're gonna see him.
Quantumania. I telling
We're,
you, bro, February is gonna be a massive year or
February's
massive month, bro.
February's gonna feel like a year.
It's going
it's
to
gonna
we're
feel
gonna
like a
have
year.
we're gonna
What
have
if
Quantumania. What if the
Bad Batch?
Mandalorian, Bad Batch? Like we're gonna have a lot. And
I don't know how we're gonna do it.
I don't know because it's gonna be a lot, but I'm excited because it has been a long time since I've been like this excited for something.
Yeah, we've been kind of dry, and we thought this year was gonna be special. It hasn't been that special. If I'm gonna be honest with you.
It's been all right.
Moon Knight
Like
was good. Kenobi was just like
Kenobi was good, but like could have been better. Book of
could
Boba Fett was good, could have been better. Um,
Andor's been fantastic. We'll talk about that.
fantastic.
We'll talk about that in a couple of weeks. We'll
Oh
wrap
yeah,
up 10,
probably about,
11, and 12.
I would say probably
Uh,
about 2 weeks.
yeah, we'll be back in 2 weeks. By the way, as we wrap up here, go check me out on Dyad and the Force. I was on a panel this past week. Yeah, when did I record that? Well, technically, I recorded it Thursday night, but it went into Friday morning. Yeah, so go check that out. I was on a round table with Element 7 and some other people from the Star Wars TikTok community talking about Tales of the Jedi, Episode 2, Justice with Dooku and Qui-Gon Jinn. Very fun. Go check it out. Hear my thoughts on that. But yeah, I think you got nothing else to say?
I do, but I'm trying to think right now. I'm trying to think
Okay.
of all the Phase 4 projects we've had. We've had WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki, Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals, No Way Home, Moon Knight, What If, Wakanda Forever, Thor: Love and Thunder, Werewolf by Night. I'm missing something. What am I missing?
I don't know. If I'm going to be honest with you.
I'm missing something. I know I am. I know Phase 4 had way more projects than what I have listed. Hold on. Oh, hold on. Don't do me yet. Oh, Multiverse of Madness. That was what I was missing.
Okay. Why? What is happening?
You'll see. You'll see.
Okay.
Black Widow, Shang-Chi. Okay, I got all the movies. Can we go down to shows now? Hawkeye. That was another one. I feel like the more we talk about Hawkeye, the more I don't like it. Oh, Miss Marvel. Oh my god. Why am I missing everything? She-Hulk. Oh my god. What is going on with me right now? Okay, that is everything. So Phase 4 has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 total things in it. I am including What If and Werewolf by Night. So, yeah.
Okay.
Let's go. I'm going to go ahead let's talk. Let's give the phase an overall rank. But the way that we're gonna do it is we're gonna go by and say if the project was good or bad, and
Okay.
you cannot have an in between either.
Okay.
It is good or it's bad. You get no time to think. It's gonna be we both have to agree. If we do not agree, it's bad.
Okay. Okay. That's
So,
fair.
WandaVision, are we gonna say good or bad?
Bad.
I say good.
Oh, well, it's bad then.
Wait, hold on, wait. I didn't think these rules through.
Okay, so put
Let's
mid.
say this. Let's say this. Because will we give it at least a 6 or higher? WandaVision, would you give a 6 or higher?
I'm gonna say bad still. I would give it a 6 or higher, but we rank differently. So again, I would say in between. I'd say middle for this.
All right, here.
Just put mid.
Hold on. I'm gonna do a thing because I'm gonna be smart about this. I'm gonna do 2 different lists for us because it's like you
Okay.
said, we do rank differently. Okay, so you say
If we were to do the good bad scale, I would say WandaVision is bad in my opinion.
Okay, so WandaVision. Why did I do orange? Okay, Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Good.
Good. Loki.
Good.
Black Widow.
Bad.
Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
Good.
Oh, okay. Don't highlight, I guess. Eternals.
Bad.
Oh. No Way Home.
Good.
Moon Knight.
Good.
What If?
Good.
Oh. Okay. Wakanda Forever.
Good.
Thor Love and Thunder.
Bad.
Werewolf by Night.
Good.
Multiverse of Madness.
Good.
Hawkeye.
Bad.
Miss Marvel.
Atrocious.
She-Hulk Attorney at Law.
Beyond atrocious.
Okay, so out of the 16, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is 6, 7. Would you agree with your ranking of a 9 out of 16, which doing that math, 9 divided by 16, that ranks the phase at a 56%. Do you agree with that rating?
I would say a lot of projects are hit or miss. Yeah, I would go a little bit higher. I'd say probably 65%, but I think 56 is within the margin of error. Sure, yeah.
You say 65?
Yeah, I would say 56 was within the margin of error. So, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'd say WandaVision was good. I'd say Falcon and the Winter Soldier was bad.
Yeah.
I'd say Loki was good.
Yeah.
I'd say Black Widow was bad.
Okay.
Shang-Chi was good.
Okay.
Eternals was bad.
Okay.
No Way Home, Moon Knight, What If, Wakanda Forever. I'd just group those in because they're next to each other. I'd say they're all good. I'd
Okay.
say Thor: Love and Thunder was bad.
Okay.
I'd say Werewolf by Night, Multiverse of Madness were good.
Okay.
I'd say Hawkeye, Miss Marvel, and She-Hulk were bad. So that is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
agree.
6, 7, 8. An 8 out of 16, bringing the phase to my score should be a 50%. But I would disagree with that. I'd say I'd probably rank the phase probably like a 70%.
Okay. So you're
just-
higher on the phase than I am.
Just because what I think of it is I think when the phase is good, I think it's good. And when I think it's bad, I think it's bad.
I would say it's better than phase 1. It's
Ooh.
neck and neck with phase 2.
And
It's definitely not better than phase 3.
Yeah, I just don't think you can say that's better than phase 3. And I think you could literally just say one movie from phase 3 is better than all of this.
Let me look at phase 2 again. I need to
So
look.
phase 2 was Iron Man 3, Thor: The Dark World, Captain America: Winter Soldier, Age of Ultron, Ant-Man 1, Guardians of the Galaxy 1.
Okay, Iron Man
Civil
3.
War.
I like it. Dark World. I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say that phase 2 is better than phase 4.
Yeah.
So I would say phase 4. It's the phase 1, but it's a better version of phase 1. So maybe we get a better phase 2 with phase 5. You know what I'm saying?
I hope.
Like, this is a
Um,
downgrade. Like, you can't lie. You can't just
it
lie.
is. It's one of those things that it definitely feels like they prioritized quantity over quality.
Sure. I think that's fair.
And uh, oh, excuse me. I do want to ask you, do you
Hmm.
think this phase was massively hurt by how many projects they released and how quickly they did it?
Oh, absolutely.
Let me ask you this. If you were to say, let's start phase one or phase four today, WandaVision comes out today, and then you space out the releases more. So you give Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So we're in November. We say Falcon and the Winter Soldier comes out in March. Or no, not March, in April. And then Loki comes out in.
But to be fair, Alex, we would never get to the end of this phase. It'd be like 15 years. So, like, you'd have to
But
do it this
do
way.
you think that would have worked though? Because I think my thing with this, I think the thing that made everyone love phases 1 through 3 was it wasn't just it felt like every day there was a new Marvel project to go watch.
I don't know. It's tough. I still think you could do quantity and still have good quality. I just also
Mm,
I think you definitely can. I just think some of these characters aren't interesting. Can I say that?
yeah,
I could
I'd
say that, right?
agree. I'd agree.
Some of these characters just aren't interesting. Like, I'm sorry, She-Hulk was not interesting.
Yeah, and it's
Ms.
also one of
Marvel,
the
not
yeah.
interested.
It's one of those things that when I just did like the little ranking that I just did for us, it's one of those things that I love a lot. I like a lot of the projects that we just talked about. I liked one, or I liked Hawkeye. I liked Miss Marvel, but it's not good. There's a difference between liking and knowing something's bad, and
Right.
knowing it's good. It's one of those things that you know a lot of people know the prequels suck, but they still love them.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. I think Phase 4 is an interesting phase. I'm happy it's over. That's unfortunately how I feel right now. I'm happy it's over now.
I think
Uh,
that's fair.
I do want to ask you one last question before we are over. What is your project from Phase 5 you are the most excited for?
I'll give you 3.
Oh, okay.
Loki season 2, or actually 4. Loki season 2, Quantumania, Daredevil, and Blade.
Yeah. Well, Blade might not happen. Um,
Blade's definitely gonna happen, but
I don't know. I think I could see it getting canceled. Not gonna lie.
absolutely not. That's such a big character for them. I just can't see that happening.
We've seen worse be canceled. So
Yeah, not as important characters as Blade. So I just don't see that.
I think my top three would probably be Secret Invasion, Loki season 2, and Daredevil Born Again.
I will say a sneaky project seems like Agatha Coven of Chaos.
They're doing a lot. There's a lot of news coming out about it. So I could see it. I believe they already started production, like filming. So,
Yeah, I think so.
but hey, man, I still think next year is going to be a massive year for Star Wars and Marvel. I know we didn't talk about Star Wars today, um, but man, I don't know, man. Maybe this should be the last question to end on, because we are a Star Wars podcast first and foremost. Even though sometimes it doesn't look like it. I have to ask you, what are you more excited for, the Star Wars stuff or the Marvel stuff? I think me and you are both going to agree on Star Wars.
Oh yeah, Mandalorian, Ahsoka,
Skeleton Crew.
possibly the
For some, the Bad Batch.
yeah,
Also,
sure.
dude, the Grogu short comes out tomorrow on Disney Plus.
Today. It's
Oh, it
out
came
today.
out. It came out today.
Yeah,
What?
because happy 3-year anniversary to the Mandalorian. By the way, happy 3
Yes.
years.
Cannot believe it, dude. Cannot believe it.
I'll never forget where I was when I watched it.
I literally saw somebody watching it on the bus on the way from school, and so I was like, "Oh, I gotta watch." It's 3 minutes long. Oh my god.
I watched that at 6 in the morning. Don't forget.
What was it about?
No,
Oh,
Mandalorian. Watched
Mandalorian.
that
Okay.
6 in the morning. at my table where I ate breakfast here, and it was pretty special morning.
That it
Then
was. That it
fell in
was,
love right
man.
away. It's like that hot
Crazy.
woman you fall in love with right away. That was Dinjar.
Absolutely. He's him. So,
He is him. He is him. All right. Well, that's gonna do it. I battled. If you saw me blow my nose or wipe my nose, you didn't.
yeah, just pretend you didn't.
Yeah. So thank you guys for watching our review of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Really good review, really fun as always. We'll be back in a couple of weeks, probably around Thanksgiving time, to talk and end off our discussion about Andor. We'll discuss the ending of the prison arc and these final two episodes. And then a couple weeks after that, you'll get more of me. I hope to
Yeah.
be doing more on the channel because I'll be off for a month. So you'll hear, fortunately or maybe unfortunately, hear more of me. I'm planning on doing some.
Fortunately.
I'm planning on doing some special stuff for the channel. Hopefully, since I'll have time off. So yeah, as always, may the force be with you. May you stay burdened with glorious purpose. We will see you next time. Peace. Da, 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 da.